Officials in Thailand assert that Chinese tourist arrivals have decreased by almost 35% this year, damaging the nation's travel industry. Surprisingly, many Thai citizens are cheering this development. Pun, a local taxi driver, feels that fewer Chinese visitors is a positive change. He notes that local hotels and eateries were once jammed with Chinese groups, but now cater primarily to visitors from Europe, America, and Japan. He states, "Us Thais dislike Chinese visitors since they frequently take part in suspicious dealings and skirt the legal boundaries. I despise that." Pun further notes that Chinese guests previously favored expensive items, yet the majority of current visitors are solo travelers who prioritize genuine culture and unique experiences. He says he welcomes this type of tourist more. Numerous Thai proprietors grumble that low-priced Chinese goods and shopping trips have damaged their operations, causing them to develop unfavorable opinions. Aside from the public's poor perception, certain academics argue Thailand's travel sector should not depend on guests from just one nation. Research into the Thai tourism sector indicates that despite the arrival of Chinese visitors providing substantial economic expansion, it also generated worries for local residents and experts. This reflects the dangers of depending on one main source market. Sunthorn Bunkao, a lecturer at Reliance University, states reliance on one market makes tourism economically vulnerable, urging the country to quickly develop varied tourism sources. This development is connected to the current international image of Chinese citizens. An increasing number of Thais feel the disruptions and clamor from visitors are more irritating than the revenue they generate. In February of 2025, a Chinese visitor named Hu, aged 33, was recorded in Chiang Mai spray painting Chinese drawings on a private residence's metal gate. Law enforcement officers subsequently took him into custody. The store's proprietor and neighbors were outraged, believing this was not just a nuisance but completely lacked respect. In October 2024, a clip showing a Chinese visitor using a slingshot to target local birds created controversy. In this footage, you can barely make out Chinese patrons saying, "Why would birds appear here?" Following that, a young Chinese boy yells, "Ali." Ali is online slang, which essentially means, "Go do it." This footage was widely shared by Thai media sources. Numerous Thai internet users shared frustration. One person remarked, certain Chinese travelers should not be granted entry. They import their national behaviors here, and this is infuriating. At a buffet, Chinese tourists took entire platters of shrimp and pork, showing no concern for others, and were excessively loud. Another commenter mentioned, "Most Chinese tour groups demonstrate poor manners, and sometimes the trips feature zero-cost travel with all services owned by Chinese businesses. It's bothersome. Why do most Chinese people not respect the laws of other nations? They carry their bad conduct everywhere, and it's dreadful." A writer shared that some visitors are capable of such acts, like when a man tossed a peacock at a zoo in China. Now he is bringing this bad habit overseas. It's shameful. Other actions, though less severe, still leave a poor impression, such as getting publicly intoxicated and causing a scene or yelling loudly. These incidents are filmed and posted online. Thai news outlets often showcase headlines like, "Chinese tourist loses control due to intoxication, screaming at the airport or mall, arguing with staff." These short videos, paired with insults, intensify negative stereotypes about Chinese visitors. It is not just Thailand. Places like South Korea, Malaysia, and Japan also have poor views of Chinese travelers. Recently, a video appeared on Malaysian platforms of a Chinese female tourist verbally insulting and throwing coffee at a Malaysian employee in a major chain coffee shop. Many Malaysians commented that the visa-free policy for Chinese tourists resulted in turmoil. South Korea's situation is similar. On September 25, 2025, South Korea fully opened up visa-free entry for Chinese group tours, and the total number grew. However, fresh reports of public urination quickly triggered major complaints. South Korean media referred to Chinese tourists as uncivilized and rude, a sentiment that remains ingrained despite recent visible improvements. With tensions between China and Japan, Chinese visitors have turned to South Korea, making Seoul the premier choice. But South Korean online users have divided reactions. Japan's circumstances carry political overtones. In 2025, the total number of Chinese tourists visiting Japan dropped sharply, influenced by political commentary. In October, the count fell drastically to 715,000. Tourism stocks plunged severely, losing approximately $14 billion. On Reddit, Japanese people complained about Chinese tourists being generally impolite. These cases reflect a global challenge dealing with the public image of Chinese tourists. Such incidents continue to rise, and the label Chinese tourist is losing its neutral meaning. It symbolizes uncertainty in public social order. It represents not only yelling or littering, but also entitlement, line cutting, bossing around staff, and treating foreign urban centers like disposable amusement parks. The core problem does not entirely rest with the tourists. Many of these behaviors are consequences of decades of tourism industry development inside China, which has guided travelers poorly. Inexpensive group packages, mandatory shopping, and commission-reliant guides all contributed. The industrial chain focuses on filling seats and encouraging shopping, rather than promoting respect for local societies and cultures. At the root is the Chinese Communist Party's flawed understanding of development. As long as GDP looks good, outbound tourist numbers are high, and consumption data is online, nothing else matters. They disregard local residents' quality of life or respect for local societies. So the Chinese government proudly writes that outbound tourism has hit a new high. Meanwhile, deep in the hearts of the Thai population, a different sentiment is forming. It would be better if fewer Chinese visitors arrived. Separately, gray market illegal activities involving Chinese people in Thailand have angered the populace. This infamous reputation even spread to Thailand's prison system. On November 22, 2025, Thai News exposed a shocking corruption scandal at Bangkok's Central Prison with Chinese criminals at the center. Investigations revealed these inmates, by offering huge bribes, had bought obedience from the prison's management. Restricted items like banned electronics, lighters, and knives were easily brought into cells. More outrageous, these Chinese detainees hired Chinese models for sexual services, bypassing security with corrupted guards and secret passages. After the case was exposed, the Thai Minister of Justice was furious and quickly replaced the warden, launching a full investigation. For Thai society, this confirms an unsettling reality. The power of Chinese cross-border criminal syndicates is so strong, they can effectively manage Thai prisons. Beyond large criminal cases, extensive gray market behaviors have created wearying feelings toward Chinese people in Thai society. Firstly, the issue of illegal employment is prominent. Thailand's Ministry of Labor investigated the gray Chinese labor problem. They discovered many Chinese people were employed in jobs prohibited for foreigners. For instance, 2 Chinese women were apprehended for working illegally at a clothing rental store near the Grand Palace. They only held tourist visas. This phenomenon leads some Thais to associate tourists with unauthorized workers, feeling they take local jobs. Secondly, the distribution of fake beauty products and medicines caused problems. In March 2025, Thailand's FDA uncovered a major operation involving counterfeit food, medical devices, and cosmetics imported from China. The total value reached approximately $143 million. Nearly all illegal goods flowed from China. At the same time, illegal silicone implants and unregistered medicines were discovered in Bangkok. These gray operations severely harmed legitimate Thai businesses, changing their traditional conduct. ใน past, Thai owners rely on quality products, unique services, and attention to customers, making real profits. Following the arrival of low-cost tours, tourists are dragged into fixed duty-free stores where money spent does not flow to Thai shop owners. Instead, it is quickly pocketed by Chinese group buying organizations, guides, and kickback chains. Many Thai owners state customers come to our nation to sightsee, but the money goes back to their country. More frustrating, most products sold by these shopping tours are cheap goods imported directly from China. Regardless of fancy packaging, they are inexpensive, resold items with prices marked up by unscrupulous guides 3 to 5 times. Local small shops near attractions, which relied on honest business, now face this monopolistic interception, causing sales to drop sharply. Locals frequently see Chinese tourists arriving in full buses, but find they make few sales. This economic gap leads to bad impressions for small independent vendors. For สังคมนี้ this model, driven by Chinese capital and rely on shopping commissions, totally disrupts Thailand's market system. Over time, many Thais have associated low-cost tours, cheap imported goods, and Chinese tourists with a negative label. From a different perspective, the sharp decline also demonstrates that Chinese people no longer have disposable income. For the past decade, China was the world's largest spender on global tourism. This massive spending was built upon a weak foundation of real estate prosperity, loose credit, and middle-class income growth. Now, these pillars are collapsing. Whether due to declining incomes, depleting savings, mortgage pressures, or unemployment, more Chinese families are cutting international travel from their limited budgets. According to polls, the future expectations, cash flow security, and disposable income of ordinary families are significantly declining. Since international travel is not a basic need, it is the first expense cut when money is tight. Thailand, which relied on visitors for up to 25-30% of its tourist revenue, is now directly feeling the major negative impact. This drop is not due to disliking Thailand or fearing danger, but is related to economic challenges. Many middle-class individuals who visited 2 or 3 times per year can no longer afford one trip. Before, they stayed in 5-star hotels and chartered boats. But now, they stick to domestic tourism or cut costs on short getaways. The once generous and lavish Chinese tourists are disappearing, quickly replaced by budget-conscious tourists sensitive to price change. This trend is not exclusive to Thailand. Japan, Singapore, and South Korea have also reported a major drop in the average total spending per Chinese tourist. What is crucial is that the broader domestic environment in China has made people reluctant to spend. The real estate market is frozen, the economy is weak, and employment is unstable. Social sentiment is shifting toward conservatism, with young people facing reduced incomes and debt, while middle-aged families are squeezed by education and mortgage expenses. In the past, it was often said, a trip to Bangkok is cheaper than traveling domestically. But now, airfare has risen sharply and the Chinese yuan is weakening. Consumers are naturally more hesitant to spend. Thailand's rising prices and reliance on Western visitors make things worse for Chinese tourists, whose incomes are shrinking. Many have realized their cheap destination is becoming expensive. Thus, the 30-35% drop in tourists seems sudden, but it is the inevitable consequence of economic trends developing over the past 3 years. It is not that Chinese people dislike Thailand, but that they lack money, dare not spend, and are uncertain about the future. International tourism functions as a barometer of economic confidence. When the Chinese population feels the pinch, countries like Thailand, which heavily depend on Chinese tourists, feel the chill first. This decline is also partly due to security fears related to Myanmar's online fraud centers. The spark for this is traced back to actor Wong Ching, who was illegally trafficked from Thailand to a cyber scam center in Myanmar earlier this year. Though Thai police emphasized no locals were involved, the rumor that Myanmar scam hubs used Thailand as a transit point became widespread. As the cross-border fraud chain unravels, the international community has acted. The US, South Korea, UK, and others imposed sanctions on Cambodia's Prince Group and named Myanmar's northern fraud networks a global security threat. China, the country most affected, has chosen to remain silent. No official statements were issued about the Prince Group. Meanwhile, the UN and Thailand consider Chinese citizens trapped in the scam centers as humanitarian victims and are assisting rescue efforts. In contrast, China insists on treating many trafficked victims as suspects. This cold indifference from the Chinese government presents a sharp contrast. The deeper issue is that these cyber scam centers are not disconnected from the CCP. The owner of one major scam operation attended a state banquet hosted by Xi Jinping in the Philippines. Another key figure, Golden Tiger, owns companies in China and maintains close ties with local police units. Internal sources revealed that many law enforcement officers know this boss. The technology, capital, and labor supply chains that fuel this fraud empire originate from China's gray and black market ecosystems. The rise of Myanmar's cyber scams is directly linked to the CCP's long-standing tolerance and outflow of gray market capital from China. Not until the crisis was internationally exposed did Beijing adopt a crackdown strategy. But the profit chains and protection networks that benefited for years have never been truly dismantled. One commenter pointed out the decline in tourists is a sign of tourism shrinkage, revealing the CCP's long-term export of gray ecosystems and institutional dysfunction. When all countries avoid Chinese tourists, the disgrace belongs to the governing regime.